Okay, so we'll give this mantra that we got. The inner world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The inner world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The inner world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The feeling world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The feeling world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The feeling world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The mental world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The mental world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The mental world of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The identity of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The identity of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The identity of every cell is filled with sound of mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. In every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. Fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. The tuning fork in every cell is now attuned to Mother's spell. I am the Ascended Master Mother Mary, and I come to take these discourses I have given to the next level up. I would like to begin by asking you a question. Have you ever considered yourself as a healthy person? Have you ever actually paused, stepped back mentally, looked at your physical body, and thought, I'm a healthy person. I have a healthy body. Now, I understand that some of you may have had various diseases in your life. But what I'm trying to point out here is that most people who have a reasonably healthy body, they don't actually think about the fact that they have a healthy body. They don't identify themselves as having a healthy body. So they don't identify themselves as being healthy people. I'm a healthy person. And why is this? Well, it's because there's a general assumption that your body is supposed to be healthy. So most people take it for granted that their body is healthy while it is healthy. And therefore, they are surprised and annoyed when the body shows signs of illness. In other words, being healthy is normal, being ill is not normal for most people. I fully realize it's different for some, but I'm talking about a general tendency. And why is this important? Well, because when you just take for granted that your body is supposed to be healthy, you're not really thinking about it. You're not thinking about what it means to be healthy, what it means that the body is healthy. And therefore, you are just sort of flowing along with life without actually identifying yourself as a healthy person, which means you don't have in your awareness the mental image, the immaculate concept of a healthy person. So you are sort of bumbling your way through life, being reasonably healthy, and suddenly your body gets ill. And now what happens to most people is that first they are resisted, they are annoyed, they try to overcome the disease or mask the pain. But after some time, if the illness doesn't go away quickly, they can come to identify themselves as a sick person, or I have this illness. So you see, they haven't built the sense of identity of a healthy person, but now they shift into identifying themselves as an unhealthy person. And they accept this at the identity level, at the mental level, at the emotional level. And this means it's difficult for them to come to that point that I have talked about, where you can accept that healing is possible. And therefore, they can take it further and accept that healing is manifest. Healing is a reality. And so, because this is such a common tendency on earth, you as spiritual people, it's safe to assume you have been affected by this. If you have had a reasonably healthy body, you're probably taken it for granted, not paid that much attention to the body because you were focused on your spiritual pursuits. And so, if you then get ill, you can hear me talking about the Immaculate Concept, for example, but you don't really have a sense of what that means. You certainly don't have an inner experience, a mental image of what it means. What is the Immaculate Concept? Well, the Immaculate Concept is, of course, what I call the blueprint for a healthy body that exists in your identity, mental, and emotional bodies, and therefore is projected upon the cells if there is no interference. So this can block your acceptance that healing is possible, and it can block your acceptance that healing is manifest. Now, I have said that in order for healing to be manifest, you have to accept the healing. First step, accept it's possible, which if you use the teachings and tools we have given so far, it is possible to make that shift if you haven't made it already, which of course many of you have. So the next step then is to come to that point where you accept not only that healing is possible, but that it has happened, it is manifest, or at least that it is happening if it is a process that takes time. It is happening. But what does it take to be fully healed? Well, it actually takes, as this witness you heard earlier from a person who had that experience, it takes a shift in your sense of identity, how you see yourself. You have to shift from being a sick person to being a healed or healthy person. It isn't just a shift in identity, it's a shift on all levels. But it is a shift. Now, you can find many stories of people who have experienced what they call an instantaneous healing. And I'm not saying this can't happen, but you as spiritual people, this is not what you're really striving for. You are striving to see healing as a process because you realize, as I've explained, that at the identity, mental, and emotional level, even at the physical, there can be this interference that prevents the cells from tuning in to the blueprint. And so you are willing as spiritual people to go through the process, uncovering the cells at the emotional, mental, and identity level, transforming the energies that have accumulated in these cells, and therefore paving the way to where the cells are free to manifest a different state than the illness. You could say that as you go through this process, you are freeing your cells to again tune into the ideal blueprint without any interference. You can, of course, also say that you are healing the higher levels of the mind, but in terms of healing the physical body, you are freeing your cells to receive that original pure blueprint. And therefore, they will spontaneously come into alignment with that blueprint. So there is a process of purifying the three higher bodies of energies and selves. But even when that process is completed, there is still that shift that needs to occur. And it's a good illustration to have that you come to a point where you see two versions of your body. You are stepping back from the body, the physical body, the emotional, the mental, the identity, and the consciousness is now looking down at your physical body, and it sees two versions of it. One that has the disease, one that is free of the disease, that is healthy. And then you, as the conscious you have to choose. Which body do you accept? Which body do you go into? And this is, of course, easier to do when you have cleared the way of these cells and energies that are pulling on you. Then you have a more free choice. And therefore, you can effortlessly slip into the healthy body and accept that your body is healthy. Now again, the devil is always there with his sharpest tool in the toolkit, discouragement. What if you go through the process, you feel you have cleared your three higher bodies, you are looking at the two versions of the body, you choose the healthy one, you feel you slip into it, but you still have some physical symptoms. What do you do then? You just take some time, process the experience, look at whether there's still something you haven't seen in the three higher bodies, and then you repeat the exercise. But you don't strain with the exercise. If it doesn't happen, then let it go. Set it aside and wait and see what comes to you. You can't expect at always that you are going to be able to go through an exercise of visualizing the two versions of the body, and then you consciously go into it. Sometimes what will happen is some time needs to pass, and then suddenly, seemingly out of the blue, you slip into a healthy body. You shift your sense of identity. So have a little patience with yourself, which of course is hard when you are in pain and discomfort, I know. But again, if you need to take certain physical measures to minimize the pain and discomfort, then do so. Don't torture yourself. But it is really possible, after some time, after working with the process, to come to that point where you can shift your identity. Now, as Raphael started out by saying on the first day, which for some of you might seem like a very long time ago, for so much has been said and so much has been gone through in your minds, it is possible that there are physical conditions that can't be healed. And again, then you need to avoid disappointment. If you go through the process of coming to see some subconscious selves and resolving them and dissolving the energy, How can you lose by that? You will grow spiritually from it. You will purify your higher bodies. And even if that doesn't lead to a healing of the physical body, you have still made progress. It has still been worthwhile. So if it doesn't happen, then you need to step back and say, perhaps I need to refine my goal here. I have so far been focused on the physical disease and healing that physical disease. But if it isn't happening, then I need to refocus and say, what is my higher goal? It is to make spiritual progress, to grow spiritually. And this is then where you need to, again, step back, use the exercise I have given, and let us go through it right now. Let's say you have a condition in the body that so far hasn't been healed. You may not have done everything you can do in terms of using our tools, but you have a condition that hasn't been healed as of this moment. So now I'm asking you to gently focus on that. And then you use the technique of becoming consciously aware that you are the conscious you, you're not the physical body, and you're just allowing the conscious you to step back, to spontaneously rise up from the physical body. You're now in the emotional body. And again, you just allow the conscious you to rise up out of the emotional body into the mental. You focus briefly on the mental, but then you allow the conscious you to rise up into the identity. And then again, you allow the conscious you to rise beyond the identity, at least the lower identity. And now you're outside the four lower bodies in this pure awareness. And from this perspective, you again look down at the physical condition. Then you turn around, metaphorically speaking, face your I am presence and ask your presence, how do you look at this situation? And then you just allow yourself to be still and see if anything comes to you. Perhaps nothing comes to you, but then you can repeat the exercise after some time. But what can eventually happen is that you receive the impression from your I am presence that there are reasons why the physical condition hasn't been healed, at least at this point. There can be various reasons. As we have said before, it can be part of your divine plan to have a physical condition and to demonstrate that you can still pursue spiritual growth or live a constructive life with that condition. This can inspire and encourage others. It can also be possible you have taken on a condition in order to demonstrate that you can rise above the condition where even if it isn't healed physically, it is not defining you. It's not holding you back. It is not making you bitter or angry. You are still making the best of it. This can again be to encourage other people. But there can also be situations where the disease is not caused by interference between the cells and the original blueprint, where the disease is caused by a flaw, we might say, in the blueprint for your body. And this is what we have called your genetic inheritance, where your mind, the emotional, mental, and identity minds did not create or define your particular physical body. Because of the density of Earth, because of the situation on Earth, your body is the result of your father and mother and their genetic history and inheritance. So you came into this body that already had certain predefined conditions, including certain looks that you inherit from your family. And so this is then something that is there at the level of the blueprint and therefore is projected onto the cells. Now, it may also be that in past lives, you took on certain separate selves that you carry with you into this lifetime. And because they were not generated in this lifetime, did not enter your body in this lifetime, they are actually stored at the level of the higher identity body that you carry with you from lifetime to lifetime. So instead of being, for example, in your emotional body, they are up there at the level of the original blueprint. So they can also distort your physical body because they are sending a certain signal. The signal is going from your identity through the mental and emotional onto the physical cells, but it's not a pure signal of a healthy body. So what can you then do? Well, then you need to recognize that you have more work to do here. Naturally, as part of your spiritual growth, it would be an advantage to you to resolve any subconscious selves that you carry with you from past lives. Now, take care of what I just said. I'm not saying that you don't have subconscious selves in the emotional, mental, and identity bodies you take with you. But there are certain of these subconscious selves that relate specifically to the physical body. And those can become enmeshed in the blueprint for your physical body in this lifetime. So then you need to then use the tools we have given to go deeper than you have gone so far. And really look at your attitude to the body, your way of looking at the body, your view of the body. You can use the tools we have given previously. It's just that it will require more work to unravel these selves that you have carried with you, often for many lifetimes. Because many avatars and even many Earth inhabitants, when they were exposed to this birth trauma or Earth trauma, there was very severe physical pain involved in most cases. And this caused you to develop a certain view of the physical body, which many of you have carried with you ever since. And it ties in with what we have talked about with this very old tradition of spiritual people seeing the body as an enemy of their spiritual growth, thinking they have to escape it instead of taking command over the body and being the body. So when you use the tools, are willing to make the efforts, you can come to a point where now you have resolved what you carried with you from past lifetimes. And at that point, healing may occur. But there will be some situations where healing doesn't occur because the disease is a result of your genetic inheritance from your family. Now, I talk about genetic inheritance, but that is, of course, using the popular expression. It isn't your genetic inheritance because the information is not stored in the DNA. It's stored at the emotional, mental, and identity levels, or even all the way to the blueprint itself. So you can then come to a point where you either live with a condition or you decide to do the extra work of freeing yourself even from your genetic inheritance, as I will continue to call it to avoid confusion. So this will require more work because now you are not doing it just for yourself. You are just actually doing it for all future generations coming from this genetic line. And so by resolving this in yourself, you can purify that blueprint so that your children and grandchildren might not inherit the same conditions. Some of you already have children and grandchildren, I realize, but then generations after that. So this might be part of your divine plan to give this service. This might be why you were born in this particular family, because you wanted to help resolve this to bring humanity forward. But this will require more work, but the process is essentially the same, just going deeper, looking for these cells, but also looking for this attitude to the body. You are, for example, likely to have people in your family who smoke, drink alcohol, or take drugs. This can only be done when you have a certain negative attitude to the physical body. And so this is encoded in your family's genetic inheritance. And so this you can also help resolve even if you don't have the tendency yourself. And again, this lightens the load for humanity. So there can come a point where after considerable work, you have resolved this, and now again, healing can occur, and is very likely to occur. Should it not occur, then it may be, as I said, you have chosen to take on the condition to demonstrate something that can encourage other people. But all along through this process, there is always that choice in the background to shift your sense of identity from being an unhealthy or sick person to being a healthy person. So let us now do another exercise. You are again focusing on some physical condition in your body. Not going into it, just focus on it briefly. Then you are allowing the conscious you to float upwards out of the physical body. You float upwards again out of the emotional body. You float up out of the mental body, and then you float out of the identity body. Now you look down at these four bodies, these four levels of the energy field. You see there are two versions of these four bodies. One is the sick version, one is the healthy version. They are there. They are both there. You cannot have a sick version without having a healthy version. And so, at this level of the conscious you, I'm asking you to focus your attention on the healthy version. The sick version just floats away. And you are focusing your attention on the healthy version. And you are focusing all of your attention on the healthy version. All of your attention on the healthy version. And now, if you are willing, you choose to slip into that healthy version, into the identity body. You slip into it effortlessly, but you almost rock a little bit when you are there, because it takes a little bit of getting used to, but you accept you're in a healthy identity body. And then you allow yourself to slip into the mental body. And again, when you get there, you are sort of rocking a little bit, but then you just acclimatize, you tune in to the vibration, and you accept, I am in a healthy mental body. And you may take a little bit of time when you do your own exercise to acclimatize to being at that level and really sort of experience what it feels to be in a healthy identity body and a healthy mental body. But when you are ready, you just allow yourself to slip into the healthy emotional body. And you allow yourself to feel how calm it is. At least the condition that used to be there in the unhealthy body is not there. It may not be completely calm, but it is certainly much calmer. And again, you take some time to adjust. And then you slip into the healthy physical body. And now you are in the healthy physical body. Take note, it is not that your sick body has become healthy. You are in another body that is healthy. Now, many of you will not be able to fully accept this shift. I realize this fully. I am not trying to discourage you. I'm trying to give you an exercise that can be repeated, and you will be surprised how after some time it will actually work. But you see again the shift. We started out with the physical cells are tuned to the blueprint like a radio attuned to the station. There can be interference between the blueprint and the cell. But if we remove the interference, then the cells will receive the pure blueprint and will tune into it and outpicture it. Then we go beyond. Now the cells are not just physical cells that are tuning into this blueprint in a higher realm. The cells are actually part of the larger energy field. They are not separated from the blueprint. The cells have a physical component, an emotional component, a mental component, and an identity level component. So it's just a matter of bringing the physical component into alignment with the others and bringing all of them into alignment with the blueprint. But now we have gone beyond it and realized that there is always a healthy body, physical, emotional, mental identity that is there. This is what I have called the immaculate concept. It is always there. There is, you might say, a parallel universe where there is one version of the four bodies that is healthy, the other that is not healthy. And when you get ill, it's because the conscious you has slipped into the unhealthy version and accepted that you are in an unhealthy body. And while it is not easy to get to this level, it is possible to get to the point where you can shift and accept that you are in the healthy body. So this is the next level in my efforts to give you tools for healing. I do have one more level which I wish to give you. And because of the constraints of time, I will give it to you now, but as a separate dictation. Thus, I will seal this one and seal you in my mother's love.